set our motivation, as the lamas would say. We can say, state our purpose, for the whole day, but for this session too. As Lama Zopa says, everything exists on the tip of the wish. The first step in everything is the thought. So we think we're going to be here this morning, today, as much as we're here, to contemplate, investigate our minds, listen to Buddha's view about these things, take some tools from it all. Why? To help develop our amazing potential, on the one hand, and then on the other hand, to be of benefit to others, because we're all in the same boat, thinking like this. So as we're talking about the mind, Buddha's expertise is the mind, let's do a little contemplation with our minds. In the long term, we need to develop really a sharp, focused mind, so we can really do the job of unpacking and unraveling this mind of ours. So we can just try some different techniques, different ways of contemplating the mind, focusing the mind, steadying the mind. But first of all, let's look at the body, the role of the body in meditation. Over the centuries, all the great meditators have found the various points of the body that would make it most conducive for us to work with the mind. There's about 7 or 8 points, so we'll just go through them. The body doesn't meditate, but it's necessary for it to be in an appropriate position to enable our mind to do the job. So the ideal scenario for long-term, for the most advanced levels of meditation that we need to eventually accomplish, as His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, is to be in what they call the full lotus position. There's something very powerful about that, having the body very aligned nicely. And for people who meditate for a long time, it's very stable. So if we can do that, have each instep on the other thigh, fantastic. If not, then one instep on the one up, and if not that, regular cross-legged, and if not that, in chairs, whatever's best, whatever we can do. But if we're in the chair when we're going to meditate, so that we don't become sluggish, it's important to not lean against the back of the chair. So have our feet firmly on the ground, and our back, our body very upright, but not tense. All the bones upright, but all your flesh, all the muscles relaxed. So sit upright, but then relax the muscles. Relax the abdomen, but upright. The hands, there's different mudras or gestures, but one classic one that we learn is this one. Left underneath, right on top, thumbs touching. And the head is important. Firstly, the chin slightly tucked in. Head slightly tilted forward. Jaw relaxed. The tip of your tongue resting behind the top teeth. That seems a bit odd, but all the yogis have found that prevents you from dribbling if you're a full-time meditator. So it's all very practical. Tongue behind the top teeth, near the palate. Lips slightly apart. Breathing through our nose. And then finally the eyes. Again, the great meditators who are meditating all day, every day, because their mind is quite subtle, they say that it's good to have the eyes open because the light gets in, which keeps the mind sharp. But most of us don't have concentration, we get distracted. So maybe our eyes lightly closed. The eyes should be looking down, as if you're looking along your nose towards the ground. So the eyes, the nose, the lips, the tongue, the jaw, your back, hands. Just settle into this position and then forget about it. So a technique that the lamas often do as a preliminary for other meditations, they call it the 9-round breathing. So we'll do that. It's 3 sets of 3 breaths. I'll explain first, and then we do it at our own pace. 3 sets of 3 breaths. So the first 3 breaths, we imagine that all the breath leaves through the left nostril. We imagine that. And we imagine it's all our attachment, neediness, expectations, possessiveness, all the anxiety and all this attachment energy completely disappearing, like yucky smoke, disappearing into space. As you breathe out, the first 3 breaths, all the yucky attachment energy completely disappearing into space. The next 3, you breathe out all your anger, aversion, irritation, annoyance, upset, frustrated, depression, all of this spectrum of aversion energy, all through your right nostril, like yucky smoke, disappearing into space. And the third 3 is all the energy of ignorance, indifference, uncaring, kind of narrow-mindedness, the energy of ignorance, ego grasping, through both nostrils. So the first 3 out through the left, attachment. Second 3 out through the right, anger. Third 3 out through both, kind of ignorance. But we can add an extra component. So when you breathe in each time, you think it's the other nostril. So we breathe in. As we first breathe in, we breathe in all, like imagine all the perfection, all the Buddhas, all the holy beings, our own potential, all the goodness, breathing in this blissful white light. Or if you like, opposite to attachment, through the right nostril, coming right into you and then pushing out through the left nostril, all the attachment energy. And the next 3, the blissful white light coming in through the left nostril, breathing it in and then driving out through the right nostril, all the anger. Like that. So at your own pace, just imagine it. And if you forget what you're doing, just start again. 3 sets of 3 breaths. We'll do a couple of rounds. Full, complete breaths, not forced, not loud. So it's your breath, but it's also your mind. It's very positive thoughts, Out through the left, attachment. Out through the right, anger. Out through both, ignorance. So now with this kind of steady mind, we can do a little meditation on the Buddha, seeing as we're going to be talking about Buddha's teachings, his views about the universe, the world. Let's imagine the Buddha. So visualize in front about eye level, whatever size feels comfortable, the Buddha in the form of the monk. So we imagine not like a statue, but kind of made of light, very light, golden light. This golden kind of body, sitting cross-legged on a lotus, and on the lotus there's a sun disk and a moon disk. Imagine, you can't see them, they're like flat cushions, and they represent, wisdom and compassion. Everything's made of light. His saffron robes. His left hand is in his lap, but holding a begging bowl. And his right hand, on his right knee, they say it's the mudra of, earth-touching mudra. The idea is when he sat under the tree in Bodh Gaya, he made this determination: the earth is my witness. I will not move until he'd finally done the job, Fingers pointing down. His right leg up on the right is on the top of the left thigh. His face kind of radiant, blissful. His eyes slightly closed, not fully closed. They talk about how that indicates he's got the realization of the two truths, conventional and ultimate reality simultaneously. His mouth, very sweet, red mouth, indicating his compassion. He's to teach with compassion. His hair, which I never understand, I haven't read enough about it, but there was all these curls, you see it in the statues. Each curl to the right, I don't understand what it means. And this ushnisha, this thing on his head, this top knot, I never know what that means either. But I remember Robert Thurman saying, Buddha's got so many brains, they're popping out. So that'll do, good enough. Imagine that. Everything's made of light, radiant, clear. He's sitting and on the lotus is also on what they call a throne. It's like an indication that he's a teacher. A square kind of structure. And it's held up by 8 snow lions, 2 at each corner. These green creatures or white creatures with green manes. I don't know what they mean either, I'm sorry. So all this is in the sky in front. Everything's made of light, radiant. The thing is too, if we've got a spiritual teacher, then we imagine it's their mind manifesting as the Buddha for our benefit. So of course being a Buddha, that means he's completely developed in wisdom and compassion. Perfect wisdom that sees things as they are, sees the minds of all beings, and perfect compassion, the wish to benefit each, and power, the ability to do so. So this is our potential. Buddha has found that this is the natural potential of every sentient being. So in order to the thought is to develop, to help us cultivate that potential, we do this meditation. So imagine from his brow, he sends, or from his heart, in the center of his chest, his heart chakra, he sends powerful laser beams of white light that enter our heart. And imagine what it does is remove all the obstacles in our mind that prevent us right now from being our own true nature, having our mind completely clear in the nature of bliss, seeing things as they are, perfect, beyond delusions, full of all the goodness. That's our natural potential. So imagine all this white light purifying all the obstacles to that, which of course is all our delusions, all the misconceptions, the ego grasping, the attachment and all the others. that are lit, and all the karmic imprints of actions done on the basis of these delusions. This is what's preventing us right this second from being our own true nature. So imagine, so happily, this white light entering into us, completely purifying all these obstacles. Continue to visualize, and we can just say the mantra, the Buddha's mantra a few times. And then we'll say it aloud, we'll sing it first, and then we can recite it silently. Visualizing, continuing to visualize this white light pouring into us, purifying us. Tayata mune mune maha munaye swaha. Tayata mune mune maha munaye swaha. Tayata mune mune maha munaye swaha. Tayata muni muni maha munaya 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 swaha. Can I imagine, again this time Buddha sends yellow light, laser beams of yellow light that enter into our heart, and this time activating all our own natural potential. I mean, Buddha's not giving it to us. We're imagining this light coming and it activates. Now we've purified our minds of all the obstacles that prevent us from realizing who we really are, becoming our own true nature. And now we visualize receiving this yellow light and activating our own true nature. Perfect wisdom that sees things as they are, without mistake. Therefore ceases all suffering, because the delusions are the cause of suffering. So suffering ceased. Grosser levels as well as subtle levels. Perfect wisdom. Not just that, but because all the sense of a separate self and all the delusions have gone, then there's also infinite empathy, connectedness with others. No sense of a separate self. This is our potential. So immense compassion, immense wisdom. And also immense, like the capacity to effortlessly benefit others, which is finally the job of a Buddha. Imagine full of this marvelous potential, fully developed, this yellow light filling us, our own true nature. Tayata muni muni maha munaye swaha. Tayata muni muni maha munaye swaha. Tayata muni muni maha munaye swaha. Tayata muni muni maha swaha. Tayata muni muni maha munaya swaha. so now imagine that the throne and the lotus dissolve up to the Buddha. Dissolve into light up into the Buddha. And then you imagine he comes to our crown, facing the same way as us, and dissolves into golden light, enters our crown, and fills us completely. So imagine the energy of the body, speech and mind of the Buddha merges with my body, speech and mind. Same thing. So now just for a few minutes what we can do instead of, we can now concentrate on this, our own true nature. So think, just kind of focus without thoughts, concentrate, focus. Imagine your mind, you've kind of expanded, vast, clear, perfect, no delusions, just in the nature of bliss. Imagine this, your own true nature, fully developed, oneness with the energy of the Buddha. Just focus on that. No thoughts, vast, clear, spacious. Imagine. So now we can finish thinking that for the rest of the day, our body, think like bodhisattvas do, our body and speech, think of our body and speech as for the benefit of others. That's how bodhisattvas are. They've gone beyond the need for a body, so then you think if you do have a body, it's for the sake of others. Which is quite surprising initially because we're so caught up in being me, plodding through life, you know. Your body and speech, whoever sees you, whoever hears you, may they benefit. The birds, the insects, the humans. Thinking this way. Which implies whatever comes out of our mouth should be useful, you know. Or helpful. Or kind. Not just nonsense. And then our mind, though, that's our business. So making the whole day like retreat, being conscious of what's going on in our mind. This is the fundamental job of being a Buddhist. Becoming more and more familiar with our own thoughts and feelings and emotions so that we can unpack and unravel and deconstruct them and then reconstruct them to be in sync with virtue and wisdom. That's the job of being a Buddhist. So in this sense, in this way, making every moment of the day useful, both for ourselves and others. But be conscious of this. We're usually just unconscious, walking around, kind of plodding around, me plodding through life. But be conscious, be aware. What we do with our body and speech impacts upon others and our mind. Chamchok semchok rinpoche, ma ke panam ke gyuchuk, ke pa nyampa me payang, kon me gondu pava sho. So let's think about breakfast differently. Normally, we mindlessly go to breakfast and check it out and see if it's what we like, and if it is, we just shove it in. But this time let's be conscious of breakfast and think of it. There's many ways of thinking about it. We can, let's say, think about it from the point of view of kindness. It's the handiwork of sentient beings, It might be vegetarian, but many creatures have died for the growing of it, the picking of it, the driving it to the shops, the driving of it to here. So many creatures died for our breakfast. And the kind people who prepared it, people who made it. There's many sentient beings involved. So be delighted, delighted. So I'm going to eat this food with a happy mind, so I can be fat and healthy, so I can continue to think about the meaning of life and make use of my life and develop my marvellous potential. Thinking this way.